Footy and Frothy, State of Origin preview time. GT joining us, Barney Daggy here, as always, to preview Game 2 of State of Origin coming up this Wednesday evening. David, what's going on?
Hello, mate.
Halfway through Barnadan, you've had a good weekend?
Barnadan, it's been a good weekend of Barnadan, yes.
Good. And Greg, hello.
Howdy.
You can go and find the review show, which we struggled through then to come out with some content, but it's there, so listen to that. We're going to preview State of Origin 2.
I struggled to come up with an hour and a half about 5 games.
Well, we still did it. I don't know if it was any good. We still found a way.
It was good.
Life will find a way. We've got Game 2 of State of Origin after the Queenslanders won Game 1. We head up to Suncorp.
Dirty Queenslanders.
Head up to Suncorp to look at Game 2. Do I do the teams now or you want to give some impressions? What are you looking at, me?
I'm just watching
Labrador?
the dog trying to squeeze through the roller door.
There is a
Do the teams, Dags. Do
completely
the teams.
desperate Labrador trying to get back in here for love, but
You want to know
you
how
can
you
wait.
fill time? This is how you fill time.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
All right, so
Content.
for the Queenslanders, some good changes for them. So Walsh Coates comes in for Cobbo, who's injured. Holmes and Hammer are the centres. Tuolangi on the other wing. Munster DCE is the halfback and captain. Lindsay Collins, Ben Hunt, Tino Fasulmuali. I'm just saying that because I can now. Dave
Fast
Fafita.
Salami?
Nanai, no, not Fast Salami. Nanai comes back into the team for the injured. Who got injured?
Gilbert.
Gilbert. Of course. Sorry. Harry Grant, Tom Carrigan is 13. Grant, Flegler, Cotter, and Mo Fotuaika comes into the 17, as we've been screaming for. All of us together,
One of us
in
has.
unison, for all year. For the Blues, big changes here. So Tedesco, Tuo, Latrell was named, but Stephen Crichton will start again at centre. Really weird to see some of the outrage about that, given he played pretty well in Game 1. But anyway, Tom Travojevic, the other centre. Addo Carr, half combination is one. Who would have thought we'd have seen this? Luai and Moses. There's one for the ages. Borlo, Damien Cook in for the broken-jawed Appy. Payne Haas, Frizzell, Young, Yo, Stefano Otukamanu makes his debut in Origin. Cam Murray, should he be cleared? Apparently won't train till then. Liam Martin and Reece Robson, after the fact that Freddie apparently didn't want 2 hookers. Now he desperately needs 2 hookers, and Reece Robson's come in, not someone that could possibly cover other positions like, a Cam McGuinness. Colin Matangi, Matt Burton is on the periphery and isn't 100 to play this game. I wouldn't be shocked if he comes in at some point, Matt Burton.
I really think he would have been the selection to be playing in front of Reece Robson, to be honest. But that's the way they've decided to go. They think they need to do a bit more work through the middle of the field, which is probably pretty evident after the first game, realistically, because there was large parts of the game where they were ineffective in the middle of the field, especially when Payne Haas came off the field. So
we're coming off the first game where New South Wales, in all fairness, did dominate for 60 minutes but couldn't execute, which is my word for the day. The Queensland halves owned key places. I think Munster, like we've said, touched the ball 6 times and 3 try assists and a try. DCE iced a 40-20 when they were completely on the back foot. No Cleary now. Tedesco's put his hand up and said, look, he tried too hard or he needed to do what he needed to do, whatever it was. Where do you want to start here? Do you want to analyse? I don't know, as usual, we haven't a lot of planning on this. How do you want to analyse this game, Barn? What do you think is going to happen here? Should we just throw it out there like we'd normally do?
we're talking about the way the game's going to be played. We think. Or?
Well, up at Suncorp, Suncorp.
I think it'd be very similar to Adelaide, to be honest, because we've Suncorp's shown a propensity to be very wet and slippery, especially later in the evening. So come the middle of this game at around 9 o'clock at night, I think you're going to have a lot of guys slipping and sliding around the try lines at both ends of the field, which was a very similar sort of aspect of what the Adelaide game threw up. There was a lot of guys falling over on their ass, especially when they got down close to the try line. And I can see this game playing out very similar to the first game, to be honest. I'm hoping more than anything, but I do expect New South Wales to be able to. There's a few opportunities there with the Tedesco being held up and Tyson Frizzell being held up. If those go New South Wales' way, I think they can be pretty comfortable at the back end of this game, to be honest. and not have to worry about that last try wins mentality where Queensland comes storming home to score a try in the last 5 minutes of the game and win. So,
Initial thoughts here, Greg?
Personally, the selection of Mitchell Moses is probably the biggest one for me. Personally, I would have had him third on the list.
Right.
Especially being up at Suncorp, Adam Reynolds probably would have been the perfect like-for-like replacement. Dude plays there every second week, and he knows exactly how the field plays week in, week out. And then Nico's really unlucky to have been selected the way he did the first time, coming in to play 12 minutes in the centres in a position he doesn't play in, only to be completely cast aside. It works well for Cronulla, however, I feel like he deserved a proper shot at Origin.
especially when he was being groomed at the back end of last year as well. He was in the squad
He
in
was
the,
in the
the
extended
17,
squad,
18, 19-man position. And, really thought that they were making sure that he was going to be probably next man up, but for some reason didn't. For mine, I can sort of understand it. They're looking for a like-for-like for Cleary and a kicking game, and Moses has probably got the apart from DCE and Cleary, the best
The worst thing that
long
happened,
kicking
the worst
game
thing that happened to Nico
in
is
competition.
Jerome Loy because they need someone who can kick.
Especially long and off the back foot.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what I think he's been picked for. When we are in trouble, it basically kick early, kick long, and go down there and back your defence.
I don't have a problem with Nico not being in a team. I can understand it. I actually don't have a problem with Mitch Moses being in the team. I think I'm fine with the selection. My problem I have is that they went into Origin 1 saying we don't need two hookers,
And now he's completely backflipped on it.
and they've given Nico a token jersey because you're the Dally M, you're good at what you do, we don't want to drop Jerome Loy, so you should sit on the bench, and probably wouldn't have even got in the field if it wasn't for the injury to Tommy.
Yep.
They've now turned around. Oh shit, we need two hookers. Well, how do you plan for this and not? It's literally your one job, Brad Fittler, is to plan for Origin for 12 months, and you've come in and you've changed your mind twice already, and we'll change it after this as well. That's what I don't understand. That's where if you want two hookers, like someone like a McGuinness can cover both roles if Cook's flying. They don't necessarily have a great sort of Jeff Tuvey style play or a Ben Hunt style player who can play dual positions. So that's the closest we're going to get. To be frank, the more I think about this, I'm not even 100% Reece Robson plays. Maybe they do just bring Bird in for him. Wouldn't that make... To give you that, you want a kicking game. It gives you the Burton bomb.
Utility value.
It gives you that extra cover. We'll see what happens there. That's my biggest knock in terms of the team they've picked. What they've named to start right now. I hope Liam Martin starts, as I said in the review. The team Queensland doesn't want to get hit by first up is Borlo, Haas, Frizzell, Liam Martin, Yo. And if they start that, I think they're in the game. But right now, as it's saying, I can't knock a lot of what Hudson Young did, but I can't rap a lot of what he did either. So he's there. If he's kept his spot, that's fine. Unfortunately, Guzzi Crichton hasn't really come back at his best, and the other options are injured. Colomatungi's looming, but he's just come back too. So from a New South Wales point of view, I don't mind the side. Latrell's a massive out again. If he plays, I'm giving New South Wales much more of a chance. The concern I have about the team and about the backline is it is still very much a... It's less so now, but it's Tedesco, Latrell, Tommy were all individual players. They're all individual brilliant players, as is, I guess, Luai and Moses. So where the cohesion then comes, there's no one in that five I just mentioned that, or four I just mentioned that make other players around them look better. They are the stars of the show, whereas the DCE, for example, makes everyone around him look better. So that's my concern. I think Crichton was fine first game. I don't have a problem with most of that backline. Barn, what are your thoughts on the changes for New South Wales, first of all? And how do you think this pans out? How do you think their game plan sets out here?
Moses for mine is someone who can make players look better, especially if he does get a chance with a running game, which probably helps with Cook in there. If they can get that 1-2 punch, those two sort of working together.
Damien Cook is one, so
running the ball through the middle of the field. If they can get some lazy markers or some lazy forwards in the middle of the field, I think they can exploit opportunities there. I think we saw from Tedesco after his Origin performance, he came back to his club team and basically said everything that that you'd heard through the media about how he was going out of his way to sort of cause more problems and be positive towards the attack for New South Wales, and you saw him play that style of game for the Roosters, where he went back to being a reactive player and playing off the back of other people rather than trying to create stuff himself. And I think that goes, if you can do that for the New South Wales team, that lends a big part to them being a better side than what they were in game one. And but yeah, for mine, the same with you. The double hooker selection really confuses me in this one. You've got Damien Cook, who's played 80 minutes for the last 10 years of his career. And if you're ever going to play two hookers, it should have been in game one when you had Appy there, and you could have had Cook as a backup to be playing a double hooker selection, which, that one really does confuse me in this game. The only benefit they probably derive from it is Robson. He's quite a good defender in the middle of the field, and whether they play them both at some points in this game, it might stiffen up the defence in the middle of the field a little bit and create two sort of running options out of half, but...
Yeah, I just want to clarify, it's not necessarily a knock on Robson, because Robson's a fantastic defensive hooker. We see he makes his 50 tackles every week and doesn't miss any and da-da-da-da-da. But he's very one-dimensional.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Yeah. It's just, service off the ground and making his tackles.
He's not going to kick it. Whereas both Harry and Ben Hunt are going to kick out of trouble.
Both got kicking games, running games.
Very
selective passing games, which it lends itself to playing that style of option. I'm with you as well. I'd be playing Burton in front of him, whether that's a late switch that they do down the track. I'm not sure. I thought New South Wales were far the better team in the first game, and somehow Queensland managed to get their way out of it. It's now a do or die situation for New South Wales up there. So you can expect the effort to be probably even more overtime than what it was in the first game. So if that descends into frantic sort of football, that'll be the way that New South Wales gets beaten in this game. But I've got a funny feeling that New South Wales goes up and pinches this one. And I think they're pretty comfortable at the last 10 or 15 minutes of this game. I think they do it pretty early, on either side of half-time. So.
Yeah, I'll save your ultimate tips to the end. Yeah. Any thoughts on that, Gregory?
He had to do it.
He had to. I feel like Robson may be used in the sort of way that Nico was, be there just in case.
Yeah.
Just in case something happens to Cook or something else, so that they can shift the deck around just to try and fit him in somewhere where he might work. Burton, to me, would be a far better utility player at 14. He could fill a number of spots. He has done at club footy, let alone in an Origin arena. Plus his kicking game, which... that bomb could mean anything for anyone.
Well, what it is, it's the wild card. It's the
exactly
joker in the pack that if you got nothing else, you just hoik it and hope something goes wrong.
To me, Luai was initially selected due to the partnership with Cleary, and now they've just kind of, he's here now, we'll keep with him.
Yeah, and he wasn't bad. I can't possibly say he was bad in game one, but it wasn't bad. To me, it doesn't fit this. But,
no,
it's probably better than Cleary. In game one.
Yes.
But without Cleary, that synthesis is not there.
If Freddie loses this, he won't be there next year. His contract's and everything else. But it seems in his and don't get me wrong, he's I'll go on record as saying that I went to lots and lots of games growing up, and he was the best player I ever saw live. But in terms of a coach at Origin level, well, he hasn't found a shadow he hasn't jumped at yet, has he?
He's made some interesting decisions, that's for sure.
Everything's reactive, and I think there's no clear sort of plan. As Billy Slater's on the front foot, I like him. This is how we're going to play. This is where we're going.
Slater also tends to pick on form far more than exactly what... what's the word? On precedence.
Yeah. To your point about Moses or about Cleary in the first game, Cleary has not been in form this year. Cleary's not been at his best this year.
No, definitely not his best.
I actually think you're right in that if New South Wales get the possession and the field position that they did have in game one, Mitch Moses creates more points than Nathan Cleary would, and Panthers fans will be shouting. I'm going to get cop used tomorrow. But Mitch Moses will produce more points in the same situation than Nathan Cleary did, in my humble opinion. What do you think?
Yeah, because he generally, for mine, he goes looking
Panthers fans here screaming at
goes
me.
looking to play.
They're stewing, well, I mean.
He goes looking for the cutout pass. He goes looking for the wider option more often than Cleary does.
Yeah.
Whereas Cleary, to me, seems to play very short ball centric
Very straight.
for the majority of the time, where he straightens into the line and looks for the man directly on his outside. Whereas I think you'll find it may end up backfiring, and Moses might throw a couple of intercepts that get taken and run down the other end of the field. But he's not afraid to throw that 15, 20 metre cutout and try and hit his winger and put him down, on the outside of somebody. For mine, this comes back to Tedesco. And if Tedesco goes and plays that game that we know he can, and being the backup man for the back rowers to pop balls to the man on the inside of Moses' shoulder for the short ball back through the middle, I think he can have a massive game in this one. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a fan of Moses here, and it'd be very interesting to see if New South Wales do pinch this game, as he's suggesting, on the back of Moses kicking and possibly 2 or 3 try assists, where the whole NRL access spins. Whether they rush Cleary back if he's miraculously fit for Game 3, whether Moses now takes over, whether the whole Australian halfback thing becomes a discussion again, which it's interesting.
I think you'll see out of Moses, if there's a chance to be taken, even if it's a 50-50 chance at best, he's the one who's quite willing to put that chip in, put that kick that you wouldn't think that really is on, and it could come off. Whereas Cleary's so much about structure that it's always kicked to the centre.
And we've seen
it's always kicked to the wing.
And we've seen
there's no
Jack
sort of
Colgar do
outside
the same,
thoughts.
basically do the same thing, come in and it's their world they exist
I
in.
think you just get a bit more creativity out of
What
Moses.
does Luai bring here with Moses, GT?
Yeah, I'm not really sure. Luai really hasn't been at his best this year either.
No.
He's been holding his position quite well, but he hasn't really been doing a hell of a lot. He kind of relies on Cleary to create that point of difference in the attack. Once Cleary does his thing, Luai
To give him the space to do it.
Luai
Yeah.
has the ability then to capitalise on that and work forward from there.
The one thing I think there may be a positive out is you might see Moses just cut Yo out a bit, whereas he sort of stutters and starts and then gives Luai a bit of stale ball.
Yeah.
Whereas you might see Moses just grab it and fling it straight out to Luai and go, there's your opportunity. You got that little bit more time to, dance around in front of people and try to promote the ball on the outside. But
And the other interesting, we're now back to a spine of running players. Cook's a running hooker, Moses is running half, Luai's a running half, Teddy's Teddy. How is that going to change the dynamic? Or is it something they're conscious of and Moses is just going to be a hoiker, boot it downfield and let everyone else do the running?
it depends if New South Wales can get on the front foot in the forward pack.
If they're on the front foot, fantastic. Fantastic. It'll be run through, very direct. Cook go, Teddy will go next.
Murray go,
And then Moses will jump on the back of it. If
Front
Moses
rower
gets
go.
the quick Murray, Cook dart, Luai, whatever he does, his little shimmy shake,
and then
Moses with
defensive
space
line in the middle.
Moses will actually suit Moses better than it would Cleary in other words. Interesting to see, but you're confident that there is points there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think there's probably even more points than what obviously we saw in the first game, and New South Wales blew quite a few opportunities in that first game. Like they were probably their worst enemy, more than Queensland being a better side. Like I know Queensland will be better because they to be honest, they weren't that good in the first game, and somehow they managed to get the win. And I do expect them to be better, but I just really like the fact that you might see something different out of a...
Sorry, Pat Cummins just hit a 25-metre six, so the boundaries are out at...
25 metres up.
25,
not
yeah.
25 metres
right. They're playing at Blue Hills. Yeah, sorry, go on.
Yeah, I just think you
Shortest
might
six
see
ever.
a few more chances taken out of the halves than what you've seen in the last couple of years from New South Wales.
And surely, Tommy Turbo's a factor in this game.
You would think so.
You'd have to act because he was just a battering ram in the first game. You'd have to say there's active decision to get him playing.
And he wasn't turning and chasing the way that you would expect a centre or even a fullback to do in that first game. And you saw the game after when he did come back from Manly, he was fantastic. Looked the best that he's looked this year. So if he's improved on that again, he should become a factor in this one as well.
last words on New South Wales. We've talked about Robson, and again, I don't think any three of us are knocking his ability to be there. It's just the confusion around what they're doing. Stefano now gets his start at 14. Freddie's been in love with him the whole way through. He was there first time round, but what do you make of Stefano now being here?
Oh, he's a big human. And if he can play near his best, then he'll probably be close to one of the better the forwards on the field. The thing for me is that you generally only get 20 to 25 minutes of high quality stuff out of Stefano. So
But that's what he's here to do as well.
You would assume that's all he's going to play.
And even sometimes when he does only play a 25, 30-minute period, he does sort of go, there's 10 minutes where you don't see him. So I just hope that he's balls to the wall and 110, 100% full on into it. Because if he is, he's going to take some stopping. And if you can use him as the man to sort of give Payne Haas a bit of a rest, and he aims up and runs as hard as he can, he's not that much far behind Payne Haas at his best with the ball in hand.
I could almost see them trying to get 70 minutes out of Payne Haas and doing it the other way, giving Borlo getting half-hour Borlo, half-hour Stefano, and then you have either Liam you get Murray to come in and you push someone else to the middle and
makes sense.
And do it that way. I think if you're trying to find
Probably
some
the
logic
better way
in what
to
they're
do it.
doing, is how they do it. Anything else to add? Anything else to add on the New South Wales team before we've got to talk about the other one as well?
Don't want to.
No,
I think Payne Haas might be a difference maker.
I think you just got to cut the reins and say, Payne, you're playing 80 minutes, man. If you're fucked, let us know. Otherwise,
but he's far and away the best forward in the game, and
the best thing about Payne Haas is he goes harder for longer than anyone.
Yep.
And maybe you got to back him and you work around his rotation and you say, but in terms of Stefano, I love Stefano. He's obviously got plenty of upside. I wouldn't possibly put him in the best three forwards at the Tigers this year, let alone this. But they're not going to pick Clemmer, and the other one's English, and the other one's a Kiwi, so it doesn't help. But what he brings to the table here is strength. He can bust tackles. He's got offloads both ways. He can stand and deliver, and he can be. He's carbon cut to be Payne Haas Jr. if you can get that 15 minutes out of him. I hope he has a great game. I hope it's the best thing that happens to him. But as I said, if you're genuinely looking for a backup prop, RCG or Clemmer should have been in front of him. But here we are, and it's not a knock because they've picked a 20-year-old in a view of making him the next Borlo, and hopefully they do.
that was what they did with
Mr.
Clemmer to
Fittler
start
hates
with.
both of them.
Who?
I said Mr. Fittler hates both
Well,
of them.
I think Clem gave Fittler an absolute gobful a couple of years ago, so he's blacklisted for now.
Yeah, Clem was picked nice and early.
When Tu's coaches next year, he'll be back on board. As for the Queensland team, I like the team. I think they've got a better
Fantastic
team than what they went into game one with. They've lost Gilbert, obviously a big workhorse through the middle, but we know that Cotter can absolutely cover all of that. Arrow,
just got that aggression. I think they'll miss his aggression and his passion that you've seen out of him, especially in the last year and a half. He's been one of the guys that really gets the forwards up and going. So.
But Nano coming back in to try sneak gives them another high ball option. I can imagine 100%. That now comes back. Well, here it is, and they haven't changed. A shadow not jumped at is that now Nanai and Coates back in. Mm-hmm. What do you reckon is going to be the game plan here?
Kick on top of the half or kick on top of the winger?
They're going to be testing those edges with high balls. And Mo Fotuaika's the absolute form front rower. Him and Tino are the two form front rowers of... Are you right there? I'm going to mute you for a sec. The absolute two form front rowers of the first grade competition. Long minutes now. Violet, Basham. Oh, yes, true. Sorry. Queensland front rowers.
Yes.
But Mo's been in career best form. He's been outstanding this year, and he was someone that I fell in love with actually after Barney identified him.
We thought it was going to be last year, really, and he had a bit of a quietish year last year, but he's well and truly
he was starting off the bench.
Bounced back this year.
Doing all sorts of weird shit with him. They've realised just wind him up, let him go, play 80 and make 40 tackles and everything else. Fantastic in for him. Just really steals it up. Not, I can't say it's a shock, but it was good to see AJ Brimson recognise that the times he's been around, his form has held up, and a solid 18th man, I suppose, can cover their halves. And Horsburgh comes in for a bit of experience, but I think they've got the squad right. I think their changes have made this team stronger. They could have gone to a Kafusi, they could have gone to a Capewell, but they've gone with Nanai. Probably any question mark I have, Barn.
Yeah, his defence at times has been pretty ordinary, to be honest. At different times in his, especially this year, probably noticed it more than previous years. Before his injury, he was missing quite a few tackles there on the edge, but his running game when he's at his best is as good as just about anybody in the NRL. And as you mentioned, is another jumping option, especially with the short bomb on top of a centre or on top of a half, which it's a very athletic player and gifted, got some ball skills with some offloads and a little bit of pre-line passing. So it's definitely a good option for him to bring in attacking wise. But yeah, it does open up one or two question marks around the defence there, especially if they're going to sit him outside DCE, who does have a few issues in defence himself. So, but
Gregory, anything to add on this, or you just think Caesar Milan tonight?
Dealing with the doggo at the moment. I can't really fault any of the Queensland selections at the moment. I'm trying to hold back on the tip, but I can't really fault the way that Slater has picked his side. And I think that leads in quite nicely to the tip that I'm going to make.
Yeah, I think for a team that got owned really in meterage last game, to go and bring Mo in to shore it up, you've now got Collins, Fotuaika, Tino, Fafita, Carrigan. They should be back on even keel, you would hope. Interested to see the role Cotter plays, because he defended in the centres last time, just how much time he actually spends on the field. But yeah, fine with their selections. I think the game plan changes slightly, but you see all of a sudden, if they get in the front foot, Munster will start tearing shreds if they get in the front foot. So they clearly win the halves battle. Queensland, it's taken. They clearly win the hooker battle, but we're heading to Suncorp to talk about, to get through all this. I can see if they lose this game, actually, I can just on the Fords. I reckon if they lose this, they'll rush Kafusi back in to give a bit of Curry to everybody else. Yeah. And Kafusi coming in. But anyway, he's been brushed for this. Final words on what happened in game 2. How do you see both teams playing? I'll start with Barn. And how do you see both teams playing, and how do you see the result panning out? You've already sort of alluded to it.
Yeah, New South Wales are going to really rely on the play the ball tempo for mine. I think they really need to make sure that they're winning the play the ball speed, and if they can do that, that creates a hell of a lot more options than what they've got trying to play off the back foot. They do now, I think, have I think Moses probably has a touch better long kicking game than what Cleary does, just with the way he can look for 40-20s, and he's probably a little bit longer off the boot.
Especially this year.
Not so much hang time and whatever, but it can really get them out of trouble if they do need that long kicking option.
I feel like I don't want to turn this into like a
Cleary versus Moses.
It is, because we're talking about they've created their own monster with Nathan Cleary. They've actually toned him down to be a dumber player,
systematic player.
They've put him down into being part of a cog. We haven't seen that rolling grubber for this season at all.
The curve grubber,
curve grubber,
not at all.
We haven't seen. He had as good a hanging bomb as Burton. We haven't seen that
this year.
But he's a fucking crossfield chipper these days.
Whether that's a plan for the club football to bring that stuff out, 6 weeks before finals time,
and the way Cogger came in and played, it's
other
exactly the same.
But
it was so they could all maybe it's just to dumb down so they can all
expand,
do this to now, and then he can pull his tricks out. And if they win a comp again, I'll sit and go, well, fucking what a player. But he feels very robotic now, and that's who he is, and he is Cooper Cronk more than he is Jonathan Thurston. He's that sort of player. But Moses is an X factor. Luai is sorry, I'll let you finish. But Luai is a concern as a combination to me.
Yeah, play the ball speed. Second man phase play, supporting back through the middle is going to be a big part of what New South Wales are going to try and do here. I think they will try to get the ball to the edges a little bit quicker than what they did in game 1-2 because they really shot themselves in the foot by not giving Tommy, the Fox, and Brian Toto early clean ball to be able to try and stand up their opponents one-on-one realistically. You do that, you know, that Crichton and Trebojevic are able to draw defenders and create opportunities on their outside or their inside. And, I think there'll be a big focus on play the ball speed through the middle and then trying to hit the outside edges a lot quicker than what they were in game 1. Still wouldn't surprise me if Queensland come out and thoroughly control the game and win quite convincingly. But as a New South Wales supporter, and I just think that with the slippery conditions, it probably does favour New South Wales a little bit more with some more control back through the middle of the field. Queensland are going to come out fire and brimstone. They're going to try and be really physically dominant in the middle of the field, and then you've got more of the sweep type plays with the Munster's running game and Walsh's running game, targeting centres and halfbacks and trying to get on the inside and outside of them, which is questionable. Moses' defence has never been great at times. You throw Luai in there as well. They're definite targets for the ball players and the running players in the likes of Walsh and Munster, who could expose New South Wales there as well. So I expect probably 20-odd points from both teams, but I just think New South Wales, if they can get the play the ball speed through the either side of the half-time break, I think they may just be able to pull out a bit of a break in the scoreboard and hold out at the back end of the game, but they haven't done it for a while, so who knows?
Gregory?
Yeah, look, I've got the exact same fears as you, except I see it going the opposite direction.
Yeah.
I think the spine of Queensland might just have the edge and be able to put in play their game plan a little bit better. Be able to spread it a bit wide and target those not quite so proficient defences of Moses and Luai. And I don't think it will be a forward battle as per normal. I think it will spread to the edges, and Tommy's been serviceable as a centre, but he's not a career centre. That plus you add the rest of the spine in New South Wales. Teddy's been incredibly hit and miss with the way he's been playing recently, and I get the feeling that he may just try and do a little bit too much, as he did in game 1, and it may turn around and bite him in the arse. And with Grant, Munster, and DCE at the helm for Queensland, I think they'll just be able to control it a little bit too well.
Throw Ben Hunt in there.
And Ben.
Yeah, big point to prove this game, Ben Hunt.
Playing for a contract now.
I'm on the GT side. I think it was new. I was cheering New South Wales first game just purely so I could get a price about Queensland to win the series. Like last year, I could get $6 or $7 to win the series. But I think going up there, I think rabid crowd. I think it's going to be a good game. But I think this will be the one where Queensland really put in almost a statement here and front foot, get rolling. Mo plays big minutes, Tino plays big minutes, Fafita plays big minutes, and they back their strengths.
We haven't even mentioned Fafita.
And I can see edges cracking here for New South Wales. I can see Luai getting exposed. I can see Frizzell and Young,
Tommy.
Yeah, those sort of guys getting exposed, and all of a sudden you've got Nanai, try scorer. You've got DC pulling the string, but Holmes and Hammer particularly. Val's gone back and carved up in the 2 weeks since last Origin. Fast footwork, exposing guys, turning around, getting them going, and
Hammer just
again,
scores tries.
Yeah, and again, Munster will probably touch the ball 4 times and have 2 try assists, and all of a sudden it's New South Wales have to find 28 to win this game. So I'm going Queensland 1-12. I'm going to say man of the match is going to be Val Holmes. I'm going to put it out there and say that, but I think Mo's going to have a mad game. Can't wait to see him play. And first try scorer will be Jeremiah Nanai off a crossfield kick. Barn.
I'm going New South Wales 1-12. Probably more out of just the fact that want
You
New
want
South
to?
Wales to win.
Yeah.
Man of the match, I think if New South Wales are going to get it done, it's either going to be Tommy or it's going to be Teddy. I'll stick with Teddy in this one, and then I'm going to go first try scorer. tossing up between Brian Toto on an edge or even a Moses show and go. We'll go with Moses, first try scorer. Really prove a point, stepping inside someone and hitting the gas.
What are you expecting from Luai in this game? Just out of interest.
I really hope that they try to get Yo out of the way, to be honest. I think for mine, he confuses Luai a little bit and
If you have clean service
holds
and-
the ball
yeah.
up a little bit. And I'd rather see Cook just go straight to Luai and then he can choose what he wants to do, whether he wants to run and hold the ball up or if he just spreads it out wider. But I think he just needs that little bit more time with ball in hand rather than having to sort of make a snap decision. I'd really just like to see Luai get a bit more cleaner ball, and then I think you'll see the best of him. But
Isn't it crazy to think that, mate, what a world we're in where it's fucking Luai's biggest problem is Penrith. Anyway, here we are. GT.
It pains me to say it, but I've got Queensland winning. I'm half tempted to say 13 plus, but I'm going to go conservative and go 1-12. I think DCE is a masterclass. He's the king of playing in a dinner suit that can just have almost nothing to do with the game and yet be the sole reason that they win. Valentine Holmes for a first try scorer coming out towards the edge. But I just don't have enough faith in the way that Luai's been playing recently, and Moses being dropped in with all the talk about how he did so well with the broken back last time he played. I think he's going to have way too much pressure, and it pains me to say it, but I can't rate New South Wales' chances. And who knows, Fittler may do something completely random that has nothing to do with anything that he thinks is a good idea, and will turn around and bite New South Wales in the arse.
He has done in the past where he'd pull. Like I said, I genuinely believe Matt Burton can play in this game.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that. He might even start at centre. Like that. I was thinking off the bench. More thinking about it, he might even start at centre.
Yeah.
Fair commentary. This has been Footy and Frothy's Origin preview. Hope you've enjoyed it. Hello to everyone on YouTube. If you've tuned in, you can subscribe to us on Spotify, YouTube, and everywhere else. Go and buy some sexy hats and beanies and steins and everything else going on there at rugbymerch.com. And we do this show twice a week, preview and review, and go into some depth about all of it, as you can guess. My ADHD kicks in and I ask some weird questions at times.
and
Stop talking
But,
shit. I want to
anyway,
go
talk over
home.
the top of people.
GT needs to get up at 4 a.m, so we're going home. We will see
3.
everyone Thursday night to review Origin and also throw out a preview of round 17. So thank you guys for tuning in and we'll talk soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.